January 16, 2024, News Report 1. Bloomberg reports that the Chinese Ministry of Finance plans to issue 1 trillion yuan in ultra-long-term special national bonds in the second half of the year. The aim is to support food and energy supply chain security and urbanization. These ultra-long-term bonds will have maturities ranging from 30 to 50 years, a significant extension compared to the typical 10-year bonds previously issued by China. The move is intended to intensify fiscal stimulus and promote economic recovery. Some question the timing of issuing these bonds in January, as the National People's Congress, where fiscal budgets are usually approved, is scheduled for March. However, the Ministry of Finance may be looking to take advantage of the current low interest rates to lower financing costs. Simultaneously, China Debt Information reports that the Hunan provincial government plans to issue 24.7 billion yuan of local government bonds on January 17 to repay debts maturing in 2019. This marks the first bond issuance by a province this year. Additionally, the Dalian city government plans to issue 1.1 billion yuan of local bonds on January 18, mainly for social projects and transportation. With 28 provinces announcing first-quarter issuance plans totaling 1.6 trillion yuan, including 1 trillion in new bonds, experts expect local bond issuance to remain substantial this year, considering economic conditions and maturing debts. The significant hidden debt of local governments will continue to be replaced this year, ensuring the overall local bond issuance remains stable. News Report 2. On January 16, Chinese Premier Li Keqiang delivered a speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. He highlighted China's economic recovery in the past year, achieving a growth rate of 5.2%, surpassing the 5% target. Premier Li emphasized China's firm commitment to opening up and welcomed foreign businesses for investment. He pledged to continue creating a market-oriented, rule-of-law-based, and internationalized business environment to provide strong impetus to the global economy. Accompanied by a large delegation, including the Minister of Commerce, the Governor of the People's Bank of China, and officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Premier Li's visit primarily focused on promoting foreign investment. He addressed concerns about data security, assuring foreign businesses that China is committed to data security and elaborated on the legal framework, including anti-spy laws. Premier Li emphasized China's efforts to strengthen legal aspects to offer a secure legal environment for foreign investment. Overall, the series of domestic legal enactments, apart from geopolitical reasons, aims to regulate and prevent potential issues in foreign investment. News Report 3. After the conclusion of the Taiwan presidential election, the United States, Japan, Europe, and the Philippines extended congratulations to the elected president, Lai Ching-te, sparking tense reactions from China. The Chinese Foreign Ministry had varied responses to different countries, expressing disappointment over the U.S. State Department's statement on cutting ties with Taiwan, emphasizing Taiwan as a trustworthy partner with similar ideologies. China strongly opposed the U.S. violation of the One China principle. For the Philippines, China's reaction was more intense. Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs Nong Rong summoned the Philippine ambassador on January 16, lodging a solemn representation. Spokesperson Mao Ning warned the Philippines not to play with fire on the Taiwan issue and suggested that the Philippine government read more books to gain a correct understanding of the Taiwan problem. This statement was perceived as a personal attack on the Philippines, prompting a response from the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs, expressing gratitude to Taiwan for accommodating Filipino workers and affirming their adherence to the One China policy. As for Japan, despite China's protest against Japan's congratulations on Taiwan's election, Japanese Foreign Minister Yoko Uemura, on January 13, expressed congratulations to Lai Ching-te's victory, taking a firm stance and emphasizing that Japan would maintain a pragmatic relationship with Taiwan. This series of events indicates that Taiwan is a sensitive issue in China's diplomacy, triggering tense and strong reactions from China to other countries' attitudes toward Taiwan. News Report 4. According to Bloomberg, the U.S. Republican Party held its first presidential primary on the evening of January 15 in Iowa. Former President Trump secured a 51% vote share, earning 20 party delegate votes and ranking fourth with a score of 21.4%. Although the impact on the number of party delegate votes is not substantial within the Republican Party, Trump's victory in Iowa, being the first primary state, holds significant importance internally. To secure the Republican presidential nomination, a candidate needs to obtain 12-15 party delegate votes. Trump's victory in Iowa may serve as motivation for him in the primaries. On January 16, Trump is scheduled to attend a civil trial in New York on charges of sexual assault and defamation. This case involves columnist Carol, who accused Trump of assaulting her in 1996. The jury ruled in May last year that Trump should pay Carol $2 million in compensation and $3 million in defamation damages. However, Trump denied the allegations on social media, calling them a hoax and lies. Carol filed a second lawsuit against Trump in October last year, seeking $10 million in damages for defamation. This trial will further test Trump's performance in legal disputes, with his characteristic outspoken style being a notable feature. News Report 5. According to Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense, on January 13, the day of the Taiwan election, the People's Liberation Army conducted activities in the vicinity of the Taiwan Strait. This included 8 PLA fighter jets and 6 warships, with 1 aircraft crossing the Taiwan Strait median line. 2 Chinese balloons were also observed, 1 drifting across the island. On the second day of the election, January 14, 6 PLA fighter jets and 4 warships continued activities in the Taiwan Strait. A drone flew over the median line, and another balloon was seen drifting eastward. On January 15, 15 PLA fighter jets and 3 warships were active in the Taiwan Strait, with 2 fighter jets crossing the median line. Additionally, a balloon was observed crossing the median line and drifting eastward. Notably, a delegation of former senior U.S. officials, sent by President Biden, arrived in Taiwan on January 14. With the delegation's visit, the number of PLA fighter jets increased to 15 on January 15. Following the delegation's departure on January 16, it remains to be seen whether the PLA will deploy more fighter jets and warships. In a similar incident, when U.S. House Speaker Pelosi visited Taiwan in August last year, 21 PLA fighter jets harassed Taiwan's southwest airspace, with 2 crossing the median line. On December 26 last year, 71 PLA fighter jets were active around the Taiwan Strait, and 47 crossed the median line, marking the highest number of incursions at that time. News Report 6. According to Bloomberg, 2 state-owned Chinese banks have recently received instructions to restrict providing funds to Russian clients and conduct a review of their business with Russia over the coming weeks. The review will focus on cross-border transactions, covering the bank's operations in Russia and third-party clients supplying goods to Russia. These banks will sever ties with customers on the sanctions list, which includes companies sanctioned by the United States and European countries for dealings with Russia. Bank of China will also cease providing financial services to Russian defense industry enterprises. In December of the previous year, the U.S. Treasury announced secondary sanctions on banks facilitating Russia's military equipment purchases, targeting not only Russian entities but also companies or financial institutions transacting with them. Despite China's principled opposition to U.S. sanctions, Chinese banks will comply with these sanctions. This is because Chinese banks cannot afford the consequences of losing access to the U.S. dollar settlement system, as such a loss would disrupt their normal operations. While China may express covert support for Russia, Chinese banks will adhere to U.S. sanctions to maintain their own regular operations. News Report 7. Bloomberg reports that China Ping An Bank has created a whitelist of real estate companies to provide credit support to. The list includes 41 real estate companies, mainly state-owned and central enterprises such as Poly, Beijing Construction, Vanke, China Resources, and others. It also includes some private enterprises like Longfor, Binjiang, Hangzhou Binjiang Green Town, Medea Real Estate, as well as Hong Kong companies New World and Sun Hung Kai. Ping An Bank has informed its branches to offer full loan support to the companies on the list, including not suspending loans, extending loan terms, and formulating repayment plans to alleviate developers' financial pressures. This move comes in the context of financial regulators launching the whitelist policy in November of the previous year. Companies on the whitelist can receive credit, bond, and equity financing support, with the standards for inclusion being the sales volume of real estate enterprises. However, some real estate executives suggest that market expectations for the bank's whitelist might be too high. Due to the current overall uncertainty, banks are cautious about expanding loan sizes too much, as enlarging loans significantly could pose risks to the banks themselves if issues arise. This reflects banks' cautious attitude in supporting the real estate industry. News Report 8. The Hang Seng Index in Hong Kong fell below 16,000 points on January 16, closing at 15,865 points, down 350 points, with a trading volume of 80 billion Hong Kong dollars. This downward trend, compared to the historical high of 33,000 points on January 26, 2018, represents a decline of 52%. Market analysts suggest that this trend may be related to the Patriots Governing Hong Kong policy implemented by Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Not only the Hang Seng Index but also stock prices of companies like Tencent, Meituan, Alibaba, JD, and medical stocks experienced a decline, indicating an overall market downturn. Additionally, according to data from the General Administration of Customs of China, the number of chips imported by China in 2023 was 479.5 billion, a year-on-year decrease of 10%, and the import amount for chips was 349.4 billion, a year-on-year decrease of 15%. Analysts speculate that the decline in chip imports may be due to weak demand for low-end chips and restrictions on importing high-end chips from the United States. However, in reality, imported chips are mainly mid-range chips, and the decrease may reflect soft demand for consumer electronics in China, reducing the demand for imported chips. News Report 9. On January 16, the U.S. Central Command issued a press release announcing that the U.S. Navy SEALs successfully intercepted a shipment of missile components destined for Houthi rebels in Yemen on January 11. This action was deemed a violation of UN resolutions due to the provision of weapons to the Houthi rebels. In this operation, the U.S. military seized the propulsion guidance devices and warheads of medium-range ballistic missiles and anti-ship cruise missiles, as well as anti-air components. These weapons were previously used by Houthi forces to attack commercial ships in the Red Sea. Unfortunately, 2 U.S. Navy SEALs went missing during the operation, and the U.S. military is currently conducting search and rescue efforts. In addition, there are reports that the Houthi rebels launched missile attacks again on January 16, hitting a Greek cargo ship nearby. Meanwhile, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran claimed to have launched missile attacks on an Israeli intelligence agency on the night of January 15. In Israel, Defense Minister Gantz announced during a press conference on January 15 that high-intensity fighting in the northern Gaza Strip has concluded, and the intense combat in the southern region will end soon. Gantz stated that the military's objectives in southern Gaza were to arrest Hamas leaders, and Hamas's Han Yunis brigade was being dismantled. He emphasized that the future of the Gaza Strip would be governed by Palestinians, and the conclusion of Israeli military operations must be based on political actions. News Report 10. On January 16, China's Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security announced that the State Council has appointed Hu Haifeng, the Communist Party secretary of Lishui City, Zhejiang Province, as the Deputy Minister of Civil Affairs. Hu Haifeng, 51, is the son of Hu Jintao. He served as the mayor of Jiaxing in 2016 and became the party secretary of Lishui City in 2018, becoming the youngest city party secretary in Zhejiang province. Hu Haifeng had been rumored for promotion several times after becoming the party secretary of Lishui City, but it never materialized. Now, he has finally become a ministerial-level official. However, being over 50 years old, taking on the position of deputy minister implies limited room for further promotion. The possibility of Hu Haifeng becoming a leader in the party and the country is considered very small, making this appointment likely viewed as a consolation prize, a comfort from Hu Jintao to his son. News Report 11. On January 16, China's Ministry of Transport predicted that this year's Spring Festival travel rush would involve 9 billion passenger trips, possibly setting a new record. Compared to the total of 2.9 billion passenger trips during the 2019 Spring Festival, this year's estimated trips are 3 times higher. Li Yang, the Deputy Minister of Transport, stated that the primary mode of travel during this year's Spring Festival would be self-driving, accounting for 7.2 billion trips. Li Yang's statement raised some questions because traditionally, public transportation, including railways, civil aviation, water transport, and highways, is considered the main mode of travel during the Spring Festival. In 2019, the total number of trips was less than 3 billion, but this year's forecast shows 9 billion trips, with self-driving accounting for 7.2 billion trips. This kind of wording seems to be playing with numbers. In the past, when we talked about Spring Festival travel, we usually referred to public transportation, including railways, civil aviation, water transport, and highways, as the 4 major transportation lines. This year's forecast, excluding self-driving trips of 7.2 billion, shows only 1.8 billion trips for other traditional modes of transportation. Compared to 2019, it is a significant gap, reducing by 1.2 billion trips. This kind of wording appears to be playing with numbers, raising some doubts. This year's Spring Festival travel will start on January 26 and last for 40 days, ending on March 5, the same as in previous years.